Howdy y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Handy Monk. Today we're going to be working on our lawnmower again. Last time we saw how to take apart the carburetor. We tried to give it a little bit of a cleaning, cleaned out the gas tank. That didn't quite solve all our problems. Today I have a can of Seafoam. Seafoam is a pretty popular sort of small engine, even actually car cleaner. It's a fuel system cleaner. It also claims to be able to clean out gunk from your carb, clean out carbon deposits on the top of your pistons and on your valves. And so we're going to give it a shot today. We're going to spray it into this lawnmower. They say to do it while the mower is running, and seeing how I could run the mower off just standard carb cleaner last time, I'm sure once I get it started I'll be able to spray the stuff in there, kind of let it run through the system. It says then let it hot soak for 10 minutes and then start it up and see if it runs better. So we'll see if this stuff lives up to its name, if it can really clean out maybe whatever little bit of gunk is in my fuel system or whatever in this lawnmower, and see if we can bring it back to life. So let's go ahead and give it a try. So it says to spray it directly into the air cleaner while the engine is running. So I'm going to go ahead, try to start this thing. It's, you know, not quite starting correctly, but once we get it going, hopefully I'll be able to just spray some of this in there, and it should start puffing white smoke. And so we'll see that come out of the exhaust right over here. We'll let it run for, you know, as long as we can, maybe a minute or so. Turn it off, let it hot soak for, they say, 10 minutes, and then we'll just see if it starts running a little bit better. So I did let that go for about a minute. You could see, you know, it was smoking as I kept spraying it in. It did kind of sound like it was running better than it was before, and then after a minute, they say to flood it out and let it stall with the Seafoam in the system, and then we're going to let it hot bake, they call it hot soak, for about 10 minutes. So we'll see if that works. I'm kind of optimistic. It did sound like it was running better. Maybe we just need to get, you know, whatever was in there out of its system. So we'll let it sit, see if this works. Maybe even if it's better but not quite perfect, we'll do a couple rounds of Seafoam and see if we can get this lawnmower running again. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes. The lawnmower's been sitting. We're just gonna start it up and see how she runs. The sun's even starting to go down on me a little bit, so hopefully this works. If not, we'll come back and check it tomorrow. That is a remarkable improvement from where we were earlier. Remember, you know, it would just kind of start and stall, and so the Seafoam seems to be holding true to its name. I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'm gonna let it sit overnight, maybe try it again in the morning, maybe try mowing some grass tomorrow. Maybe good just to let the lawnmower run a little bit, because you could hear it was still a little bit funky. It wasn't quite running right, but as long as it, I mean, runs reliably and is usable, you know, if it runs a little off again, it's a lawnmower. But that was pretty great. I'm very happy with that. Seems like, you know, taking the carb apart, cleaning a little bit, and then putting the Seafoam in it was a big key to success. So we'll see and check back in tomorrow. Guys, so it is the next day here, and here we have the lawnmower behind me. It's just been sitting overnight, and so we're gonna go ahead, give it a start, see what happens. If necessary, we'll do another round of Seafoam through it, but I'm pretty optimistic that this is gonna work. And then we'll go and try to mow some grass and see how it does. As you can see, guys, it did need a little bit of help there, which I'm not super surprised about. It didn't quite start right, so I just ran some Seafoam through it. Ran it through for about a minute. We'll let it hot soak for about 10 minutes now. I'm gonna put the plastic back on, get it ready to go, and then we're gonna take it back out front and see if we can mow with it. I think just running it will help clean things out a little bit, so we'll find out. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes here. I've got everything buttoned up. I put the air cleaner back on. and just brought out front filled with gas, and we're just gonna give it a start, let it burn off the little bit of sea foam that's in there, and then see if we can mow this lawn. Well, that's not gonna work. Alright, so we finally got it running pretty well. Let me explain to you guys what I did here. So, the first thing I did is I removed this little guy right here. This, I think, this was the automatic choke control cable. It connected to this little sort of thermal spring valve right here, and basically, I don't know if you can see it, but this right here was wired in here, and this adjusts so as it gets warm, it would pull it would pull on the choke cable a little bit, and of course open up the choke valve, which I think, or this is sort of like the choke throttle valve right here. So there's two sort of main butterflies on this carburetor. There's this, I'm not sure what to call it exactly, but it's the choke slash smaller butterfly valve, and then there's this other lever arm right here that controls the larger butterfly valve inside the carburetor. And this arm goes back to something on the back of the motor. I'm not exactly sure what controls it back there, but basically it opens and closes this way, and then it would interface with this sort of choke throttle valve here, and actually the choke cable connects to this top plastic piece and basically just pushes it closed all the time until this little thermal spring heats up and then pulls it open. And I noticed it wasn't quite working right, and so I figured I'd just disconnect it. I'm not sure what goes wrong with the little thermal spring here. Obviously it's connected over to the muffler, and so as the muffler heats up, you know, it would heat this spring up and then just pull it open. But as you can see, I just kind of wired everything into the open position. And so rather than having it sort of self-adjust the throttle, I just kind of wired the throttle open so that at least it will run, and it seems to be running pretty well. You know, there was a lot of just adjustment mechanisms here, and something somewhere along the line wasn't quite working right. And so I just took a zip tie here and literally just sort of zip tied this smaller butterfly valve open, which is holding it. So the bigger and the little one are kind of interrelated too, and there was another actually spring going across here that I took off that would, you know, sort of control the flapping of this guy. And so I removed that spring and just wired them open because it works and it's just much easier. And so now I think I put the air filter back on, take this guy out, and it will run now regularly at kind of a high throttle, but I'm okay with that. You know, I don't need it auto adjusting. I'll just make sure that I wear earplugs when using this, because of course now it's a lot louder, but at least it runs well and everything seems to be working. And there we have it, our nice, clean, freshly mowed grass. Well, that tying up of the throttle seems to have done the trick. I did have to take the cover off a little bit when it was running, just to tweak my tie just a little bit to get it to run right in its sweet spot. But it's at least working now, which is a plus from where we started originally, which was just start and stall. When it comes to the question of did the sea foam actually work, I guess that's a hard one to answer. I mean, it seems like there may have been multiple problems. You know, the carburetor may have been a little bit dirty because there was all that junk in the fuel tank, which we saw in the previous video. You know, it seems like something was kind of malfunctioning also with the automatic carburetor adjustment and the whole spring system there. I'm not exactly sure what's the deal with that. Obviously, we just tied it up and that seems to have worked, but I am wondering what happened there. Maybe the springs wore out. I don't know if, you know, the K of the spring can change as the spring ages. That's still kind of an open question. Maybe I'll have to do some more research into that. But at the end of the day, we did get the carburetor working and the lawnmower running. We were able to mow the grass. So we'll call this project a success. And until next time, remember to go out, enkindle, and enlighten.